Well, today we're celebrating Memorial Day and want to celebrate it with one of our outstanding veterans, Dr. Damon Arnold, who's former head of the Illinois Department of Public Health, but also he is a colonel in the military. He could have been a two-star general, but he decided to remain in private practice. And so he's going to share some really great insights about Memorial Day and some people that we have had as African Americans, some outstanding military leaders in every war, right?
Yes, we have.
So how far back can you go? Let's start with.
Well, I can go back. They say that, some of my family members say that I was probably in the original, Crimean Wars or something back in, 1200 something. but
No,
but I'll start more recently.
please do.
One of the things the day that we're celebrating is a celebration in part of people who are, have given their lives for this country. In service, both men and women. And back in 1971, the day was actually recognized as a day of memorial to these individuals who gave their lives. So Memorial Day is the last Monday in May every year. It began actually with General John A. Logan, who was from Decatur, Illinois.
Really?
Yes, and he actually was the first to step forward and write a proclamation. But at that time, he called it Decoration Day, and this later became known as Memorial Day. And what the decoration stood for were putting flowers at the graves of individuals throughout the country who had served and given their lives for the country. And as part of that, one of the things that we have to recognize is that we also did that back in the South. So African Americans actually memorialized the graves much earlier, and this actually became a practice across the country. So even though we sort of talk about this occurring in one particular location, this was after the Civil War, which was a bloody war, where people just wanted to honor the people that were in their families that maybe sometimes they hadn't seen for some time and died in battle and were brought home, dismembered or dead. So that's what that date stands for. So the 5th of May, 1868 was the first time that this was actually celebrated.
And so now you have the names of several people in different wars who gave lives that we could have peace in America, or they fought for justice for us,
Yes.
even in this country and around the world.
Yes, yes, and we've heard about the Crispus Attucks with the Revolutionary War. He was the first to give his life in the country, who was African American, for our freedom that we have now. We've all heard about the Tuskegee Airmen, but there are countless, thousands and thousands of other heroes, both men and women, who served the nation. And one person that comes to mind is a person that back in World War I, he was actually Henry Johnson. And what Henry Johnson did was that he fought off 20 German soldiers.
Oh, wow.
With just a bolo knife, just a knife in his hand.
20 with a knife.
With a knife. Saved another another soldier from being captured by them. And the Nazis called him Black Death. Because he was so effective
With the knife.
with the knife, and making sure that he was defending the troops. So we have many people throughout the history, and for him it was actually the 369th Infantry that he was a part of that was overseas. He was actually awarded the Medal of Honor posthumously by President Barack Obama back in 2015. But we also have, multiple other people. He actually did get the highest French Medal of Honor, what they consider the Medal of Honor, and it's called the Croix du Garin. And so he actually got that from France before we even awarded him the Medal of Honor here in this country. So many of the things that African Americans were doing in war were recognized by foreign powers before even our own power would recognize them for the things that they'd done. Back in World War II, we had Reuben Rivers. He actually was a tanker, and he was with the 761st Tank Battalion. And as he was going about his duties, he actually ran across a landmine that injured his leg while he was in the tank. It blew through the side of a tank. And they told him to retreat, to come back, and he disobeyed an order. And he stayed there to cover the flank of the retreating American troops because the German line had actually started to infiltrate things and started pushing forward. So he was in World War II, whereas previously Henry Johnson was in World War I. So there's an unbroken chain going back to Crispus Attucks of people who have been participating in wars and coming forward. So now World War II, we had the Tuskegee Airmen and those sorts of things. But he was actually President Obama. Was not in time. At the time, he was not in power yet. So President Clinton, prior to President Obama, actually awarded him the Medal of Honor for Reuben Rivers. But then we come forward. We have Melvin Morris. One of the things that happened with the Vietnam War is that Melvin Morris was a medic, and he had saved countless lives. He had been shot in his calf and his thigh, and still continued to pull people out of a real gruesome battle that was going on. So his courage was like really incredible. So he was actually awarded the Silver Star for that, and then posthumously, right now they're actually pushing for him to get the Medal of Honor from current President Biden. So hopefully he'll get that recognition. But many of our African American men and women who have served have gone without being decorated and recognized for what they had done in the war. So many medals are missing. But definitely not the will and the power of the people who were there, who were pushing that forward. And actually Henry Johnson, he came from New York, but he was part of what they called the Harlem Hellfighters, and they were the most engaged unit within World War I. They saw more battle than any other unit, and they were feared by the enemy.
The Harlem Hellfighters.
Harlem Hellfighters. And then when you look at Reuben Rivers, he was actually part of the, we have mechanized infantry, we have tankers, and he was part of what they considered to be Patton's Panthers. That's what they called them, because they were called in to clear out, enemy strongholds, and they were a very, very powerful unit.
So before we close, you have more medals on you than anybody I've ever seen. What do all these patches mean?
Oh, well, these are patches. I have combat patches from when I was with the 111th Aviation Regiment. So I was flying with Black Hawk helicopters. So I was a flight surgeon. Yeah, so did about 70 missions in down in Kuwait and going across the Iraqi border, doing various things that we had to do. And then with the mechanized infantry, this is my combat patch from the mechanized infantry. And this is actually, I got this from President Obama, but this is a Legion of Merit, LOM.
So, and if you look at Dr. Arnold closely, he's wearing another medal. Can you explain what that medal is?
Oh.
He's more than just a veteran. Retired Army, right?
Well, luckily...
Are you retired Army?
Oh, yes, I am.
Okay.
But it's still in my heart. And, I say there's no such thing as a retired veteran. We have a duty and a responsibility to our communities and to do things that are in the same order of what we would do for the country as a whole. We need to be on the ground and helping kids out. We have way too much gunfire on our streets. We need to be making sure people are career-directed in the right path. But this was from... But
you're something else now. He's not just a veteran. He has... Oh. What happened to you recently?
Recently on Saturday, I was I was knighted as a Templar for the Sovereign Military Order of the Temple of Jerusalem. It's actually a military order that goes way back to the Crusades. But back in the Templars actually formulated themselves around 1200s, and then came forward. They were actually formally recognized by Napoleon Bonaparte under democracy. They actually protect Christians all around the world. So they go into areas where Christians are being defiled or being killed. And so that's part of their mission.
So you are knighted as a,
Yes.
give me the title.
Oh, yes. So I'm actually a chevalier, but they call us, a Knight Templar.
Knight Templar.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Oh, thank you. And the Princess of Edinburgh. It's a whole history of how this came to be, and they really tried to follow the true principles of what Christ would have on earth. Making sure that we protect people and just don't let people be slaughtered for their beliefs in Christianity.
Wow, that's powerful. Well, so now you and I can understand why we celebrate Memorial Day. It's not just another day. It is a special day. And when I think about all of these legends that we've learned about today, we're going to try to give more history of what happens in our military and how we've served for this country.
Yes. Yeah, and it is a recognition of some things, like that the flower that represents this day is the poppy flower. And the poppy flower there was a Colonel McCrae, John McCrae, who wrote a poem, and that was the basis for selection of that flower. But what happened was that he was a battlefield surgeon, and he looked at the battlefield after it was decimated. And this was back in World War I time frame. And when he looked at it, he said, this is something that is just absolutely horrendous. And World War I was from 1914 to 1918. And he said, and he was just looking at the decimated people, and all of a sudden the poppies were popping up. They were the red flowers, and they covered the battlefield. And he used that as the flower that represents this day. So when people ask me, what should I do on Memorial Day? What are you supposed to do on Memorial Day? I tell them, have a wonderful, wonderful day. But remember the people that made that freedom and that wonderful day possible. The ones that sacrificed their lives for this nation.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.